the new dates are unfair, and the appointment of the lead women voters of the La Crosse area to carry out the elections without sufficient knowledge about the current HMA situation put us at risk for unfair elections competitions. The lead women voters of the La Crosse area must understand the covert operations of the La Crosse Area Hmong Mutual Assistance Association Board and its intent to deception to steal the elections. Your effort to run the elections on October 25th and 29, 2011 will be promoting the HMA's wrongdoing. The 2012 and 13 HMA election committees has been working on the election guidelines with the directions of the HMA officer for nearly a year now. For the HMA officials to mislead the election committees, which ultimately lead to postponing this election and then dissolve it. It is not tolerable. The HMA officials took the responsibility to train and educate the elections committee. If there's a lack of understanding its function, it was the deceitful intent of the HMA board. Any bylaw item should have been addressed with proper measurement and not held off until the last minute. We feel that the HMA officers are engaging in a corrupted measure to steal the 2012 and 13 elections by wanting to accept non-Southeast Asia voters. Their measure is merely to ensure Gina Ya, the current HMA board president, wins her re-elections. This is a shameful action. This is not a question of voter eligibility. This issue was merely foreplay, and because they knew voter eligibility is not restricted, yet they failed to point this out to the election committees. The HMA officer provided support, training, sale along with the guidelines of the election committee. The HMA officer know that opportunity to win the elections is slim and use this maneuver to stop the elections and eventually dissolve it. They are misusing and neglecting their own rules, and the public has the right to understand their concern of the unclear tactics. The Hmong, the Southeast Asia, and the general public must know of the manipulations of the HMA officials. We are not against our fellow Caucasian, African American, Hispanic, and other brothers and sisters to support the HMA. What we are against and denouncing is the betrayal of and manipulative measure that the HMA officials are engaged in. The following points are among the manipulative measures we found to be legitimate of the HMA officers to try to have Gina Ya win her re-elections. This is morally and principally wrong. 1. HMA Board of Director appointed Ms. Mai Vue to chair the 2012 and 2013 elections committees. This was done back in December 2010. Ms. Mai Vue was appointed by Gina to serve as her advisors. This is a conflict of interest here between Ms. Mai Vue and Board President Gina Ya, who is seeking re-election. However, they both ignore it. 2. Ms. Mai Vue had appropriate people to the election committees. At least another 2 appoint advisor of Gina's. Ms. Jie Li Ya served as the vice chair, and Ms. Mai Vue served as the secretary for the election committees. Again, a conflict of interest that they all ignored. 3. HMA provided necessary resources such as the bylaws and any existing guidelines to the election committees before it begins its work. 4. The election committees developed its guideline with the engagement of the community leaders to help evaluate such guidelines. This was done back in June 26, 2011, with no questions of voting eligibility and any changing of voting. Any change in geographic areas. Gina Ya was participating in the meeting and other conflicts of interest due to her running for re-election, and she ignored it. 5. Voting and candidacy guidelines has been issued to the Hmong community, and there was no indications of opening these elections to the American public. The guidelines were only written in Hmong and not even translated into English. 6. Nothing that we know of has issued to the mainstream public to include them in this HMA's elections either through newspaper, radio, or TV. 7. Nothing in the candidacy and voting guidelines indicated that Caucasians, African Americans, nor Hispanic are welcome to vote and be candidates. 8. There have been 16 elections since the creations of HMA in 1982, which all Southeast Asia voters, mostly Hmong and Laos. 9. A debate was held in September 11, 2011, without engaging the mainstream, and again, there was no indications of getting such a non-Southeast Asia to listen or to vote. 10. Ms. Palmore, chair of the election committee, called me, Mai Vue, around 8 p.m. on Tuesday, September 20, that the elections of September 24, 2011 is canceled and will be updated later. She provided no reason other than the safety of She provided no reason other than safety concerns. I was confused. 12. Ms. Palmore, the chair of elections committees, announced on the radio show on WIZM 1410 AM, Sunday, October 16, 2011, that she and her committee's members have resigned effective October 2nd, 2011, due to the unfair practice of the HMA board. It was something that she and her committee's members could not accept it. 12. Jiva, HMA board president, announced on the radio among us Sunday, October 16, that the election dates has been set for October 25th and 29, 2011. The lead women voters of the La Crosse area will help carry out the election work. Dr. Below, an HMA board member, announced that the Winona and Houston County of Minnesota was added to the voting geographical area. It is ridiculous that this change happened only 2 weeks before the elections. There was no HMA official communication to me until October 20, 2011, 5:30 p.m., giving me 4 days to campaign before October 25th to all voters in 7 counties is unthinkable. Do it to me is do it to the public. It is a shame.
HMA officials have permitted all the mentioned election activities until September 21, 2011. Dissolve its election committee, asked for a new entity in the mainstream to carry out the election. Added new voting geographical area to the accommodated interest individuals, seek quick election dates, and modifying voting methods. All these HMAA board dirty tricks are not acceptable to me, to my running mates, and to the public in which I am to serve if elected. I call upon the Hmong community to help overcome this dishonest election and hold the HMAA officials accountable for their actions. We are displeased at the current HMAA leader for their corruption and manipulative effort they are undertaking. In particular, the effort to diverse the HMAA facility we named the Hmong Cultural and Center Community Center HCCC to another agency. We call upon the HMAA Board of Directors to exercise its official responsibility and not neglect their duties. The election committee or any of its members should not be involved directly or indirectly with the HMAA's officers, since they are board president, Gina's running mates for her re-elections. HMAA officer must stay away from any involvement with HMAA election affairs, as it has always been. For G. Vang, Dr. Bilo to engage with elections and be running mates of Gina is a conflict of interest. Again, they all ignore it. A clean election is the key to our future and the future of our children. We are asking the HMAA and the League Women Voter of La Crosse area to stop the election, engage in Hmong and at large communities leaders to evaluate the current election flaw. This election should be run the way it have done for the past 16 elections, allowing the Southeast Asian to vote, meaning the Hmong, Lao, Vietnamese, or Cambodian in the Coolie region. We stand here before you and tell you that I will not accept the HMAA current fraudulent election practice. I will not enter the HMAA board president election that is set for October 25th and 29, 2011. I ask that the HMAA and League Women Voter of La Crosse area remove my name, Mai Vue, from any voting document this September 25th and 29, 2011. The election is a corruptive effort to try to have Gina win her re-election so that the HMAA Board of Directors can continue its wrongful practice to corrupt the HMAA and eventually dissolve it just like the HMAA Board did to its election committee. The HMAA Board officer and board member job is to protect the HMAA, not drain it. The HMAA Board of Directors disregard the integrity of the HMAA. The people of the HMAA serves and voters. This is a very shameful action by the HMAA Board of Directors. I cannot and will not